If you grew up in Chicago, especially within the city, then grassroots organizations such as the Black Panther Party or the Young Lords Organization may be familiar names. But have you ever heard about the Chicago Indian Village Organization? A Native-run group founded here in Chicago who also organized with the Black Panther Party, Chicago Indian Village led multiple actions and protests between 1970 and 1972 and advocated for affordable housing, educational, and employment opportunities for Indigenous people living in Chicago.
This is a Chicago Daily News photograph from 1970 featuring Menominee mother Carol Warrington with her children in front of a teepee. Analú María López, Huachichil and Xi'úi, Ayer Librarian, Assistant Curator of American Indian and Indigenous Studies at the Newberry, Co-Director of the Indigenous Chicago Project, and Co-Curator of the Indigenous Chicago Exhibition.
This image comes from the very first action that Chicago Indian Village held in front of Wrigley Field, after Carol Warrington and her 6 children were evicted from their home. This action began under the leadership of an activist group called the Native American Committee, but shortly thereafter, Ojibwe activist Mike Chosa and others like his sister Betty Jack Chosa and Carol Warrington formed their own organization, the Chicago Indian Village. Shortly after their first direct action in Wrigleyville, Chicago Indian Village started organizing out of a storefront in the Uptown neighborhood. Over the course of 2 more years of organizing, they led at least a dozen activist events across the Chicagoland area, beginning with the occupation of a residential building on Ainsley Street for 15 months, through which they advocated for Native families who lived there to have consistent heat and electricity. They frequently spoke with the media about issues the Native community was facing and even published a newsletter. Chicago Indian Village's organizing led to promised units of housing for the Native community by the Chicago Housing Authority, and they contributed to several Native-run schools in the city. They also advocated for Native-owned businesses and eventually founded and incorporated the All Indian Tree Service Company.